Welcome, this is Teal from Joy Journey Insights. I'm doing a solstice reading. I did one for the spring equinox or the March equinox, and using the spiral spread. And I thought that I would, this year I planned to do one for both of the equinoxes and both of the solstices. So this is for the summer solstice. And if you kind of want to see how they connect, you might want to go back and watch the autumn equinox one, which kind of goes from like mid-March to mid-June, and the solstice one goes from like mid-June to mid-September, and so on and so forth. I have this supported in a way, but I need to get a better quality one. So, but I'm just trying to show you, I have some of the goddesses over there from Bridget's Grove. I have the Light Seers Tarot, which is what I'm going to be doing this with. And it's kind of at a strange angle, so I'm trying to make sure that you can see everything in the actual reading itself. So I'm going to be using, as I did for the spring equinox one, I'm going to be using the spiral spread by Teal. It's actually a very interesting setup. So see how much of that we can keep in the picture here. Let me move a little bit over here. Anyway, so the first one obviously is in the center, right? So this is the essence of the reading. So in this case, we have the King of Pentacles. This is actually a really good time for us. Many of us are feeling very settled and secure, feeling that our that we have a lot to offer. I love the imagery of in this particular one, because here he is in his den with his dog. There's probably a cozy fireplace somewhere. So feeling very content and happy with, sort of where he is and what he's done. The King of Pentacles also usually deals with generations and inheritance. So also, what kinds of legacies are you creating? What are you building now that's going to go on into the future, right? The second card down here, as you see, we're trying to create a spiral, right? The second card is the past. So what sort of led to this? Now, this is kind of interesting because when we think about the past, this could be the far past, or this could be, the near past. And since we just did a collective reading for everyone at the equinox, this would suggest that this is probably for the last 3 months, right? So in the past, there's been conflict. There's been, a feeling of disconnect with other people. And it could also be internal conflict. But it's the Five of Swords often is a card of not listening, right? And also not understanding the consequences of our anger and our discord with others, that it often goes beyond just our discord with each other. In the Modern Love Tarot, this particular card has a couple in the kitchen fighting, and in front of the island in the kitchen, you see both of their children sort of sitting on the ground, like covering their ears. So it's not just that it's impacting you, but it's also impacting others around you. So this is either internal conflict or conflict with others. And this doesn't necessarily mean that you are the source of the conflict, but you're not necessarily doing a very good job of de-escalating the conflict either. In the present, so right now, maybe, I am having a hard time picking it up. Let's try with my right hand. All right, in the present, we have the Devil. So part of what's going on is, dealing with that shadow side of things. When I see the Devil, I often think about this is a time for us to look at our coping mechanisms, to look at our shadow, the things that we're afraid or uncomfortable with. But the Devil is also about asking us to sort of pay attention to what are we doing to sort of cover up instead of coping with things. So this asks us to look at all kinds of addictions. So whether you are addicted to, alcohol or sweets or, escapism in the form of video games or TV shows or scrolling through your phone, which none of these are bad things in and of themselves. But if you are, well, Some of them aren't the best coping mechanisms, but when it becomes a thing that actually keeps you from actually working on things in a healthy way, it can be to your detriment. So the devil, usually when you see the devil come up, the devil is actually saying, now's the time to look at these things. Now is the time to address these things. Where are you, where have you buried your feelings? What feelings do you need to address right now instead of run from? What are some healthier things that you can do for yourself, while when you deal with stressful situations, right? So it's asking you to move beyond that. But it's also asking you to stop shaming yourself for that, because shame is actually another thing that keeps us from being able to move forward, right? In the future position, number 4, I really cannot do this with my left hand. In the future position, what we're moving towards is interesting. So here's our 5 of Swords from the past, right? And we're moving towards the 5 of Cups. Now, the 5 of Cups can be a very uncomfortable card because, again, this is asking us, kind of like the devil, right? It's asking us to look at things more deeply. It's asking us to face the truth so that we can move forward with some things. It's also reminding us that it's okay to let some things go. But don't focus so much on the things that you have to let go of, or focus so much on the things that are gone or lost, and miss out on the fact that there's still a lot of things there. So the 5 of Cups really is a time of opening our eyes, to what's going on around us, moving away from doubt and into an honest understanding, even if it's uncomfortable. This is a very healing card ultimately, but not always fun in the middle of it, if you know how healing works, right? Like, it's kind of messy in the middle, but ultimately this is a healing card, and I think it's just really perfectly aligned here with, like, following the devil, right? The devil's saying, let's look at this stuff, and the 5 is like, okay, let's, that's bringing up a lot of feelings, but let's feel those feelings so that we can move forward. The 5th card is a card of sort of possibility. What are the possibilities ahead of us as we move forward? This is a really great card, and I really love that it follows the 5 of Cups. So that healing can lead to growth, right? So going through this feeling, you have to feel your feelings in order to heal those feelings, right? And then we see a lot of growth here. This is slow growth. But the 7 of Pentacles is also a reminder for patience, right? Growth takes time, right? We're in the middle of summer right now. And this is actually a really great card to also remind us that we're moving towards harvest, but harvest is still months away. So this is also a reminder that healing takes time, that whatever projects you're working on, whether that's, your emotional self, physical projects, planning of things, remember that it takes time. Right? And so we're moving towards harvest, but right now we're in the middle of all of that, right? The blessings. This one is what blessings we can get, that the universe has for us, our ancestors have for us, that others around us are going to help us have. This is a really interesting one, and because it is about, so notice we went from the 7 of Pentacles to the 9. So notice it's calling us to notice the things that we have done, the accomplishments that we have, the things that make us feel happy and centered and grounded, right? She is, happy, self-satisfied, and justifiably so. She's worked hard, and she's really happy with everything that in her life. And so this is kind of the blessing. So if we let this happen, or we don't just let it, we work through these things that are happening, right? It can lead to this feeling justifiably pleased with oneself, knowing that you are, you've done what you can, and now you can happily support yourself. So it is, sorry for my rambling there. I actually paused in the middle of my packing and everything for a trip that I'm going away on next week, and leaving tomorrow early morning. And so I'm a little frazzled. So I apologize if I'm a little off and umming and awing a lot here in this video, but hopefully you can follow me. All right. And then this is the synthesis. So what brings this all together? So where are we moving towards? This is an awesome card. This is now I would say this about many cards. This is one of my favorites. I have lots of favorites but this is one of my favorite cards, the 10 of Cups. So we have the 9, feeling good about ourselves and by ourselves, and then the 10 though is also the sort of fulfillment, happiness, happy family, close friendships, just feeling good about our connections, emotional, growth. So what I see, because here's our 5 of Cups right in the future position, and notice that we come around to the 10 here in the synthesis. So ultimately this healing that we do on our own is going to also heal and strengthen our connections. It's also going to make us feel, increase our feelings of self-worth. And so it's a very, very positive sort of read here, right? So when you can sort of think about sort of going forward, right, we are moving towards this time of healing, reminding ourselves that it takes time. But ultimately it's going to be a very positive sense of completion and wholeness is what we're sort of coming to. So this is the collective reading, and this is really for about the next 3 months. I will do another reading for the autumn equinox or the September equinox. Sometimes that's a better way to put it, because not everybody on here is looking at the equinoxes and the solstices from the same angle, right? Some of us are in the northern hemisphere, some are in the southern hemisphere. So that is my reading for the summer solstice. Again, it's to me, it's a very positive reading. There is a warning. I just pulled another card. There is a warning. Be careful that you don't take on too much, right? We want the 10 of Cups, not the 10 of Wands. The 10 of Wands, if we're not careful, we can burn ourselves out. We can take on too much. So you really want to make sure that you're balancing things, right? We talked about this in the Simple and Sacred circle, actually, last night. So that's actually a pretty good message there. Kind of reinforces that. So, do what needs to be done, but don't overburden yourself. Sometimes you have to put some things down, right? And so that's kind of what I would say, for the 10 of Wands. So be careful about burnout. Be careful about trying to do too much. Because if you can put some of that down, and you're going to be happier. Right? There's some things that we obviously have to carry. There's some things you can't not do, but there are other things that you're carrying that aren't even yours. There are other things that you can temporarily put down, and that's kind of the recommendation. Yes, do things, but you don't have to do all the things. Well, I hope you have a wonderful summer solstice, and a really good summer, and I'll see you all again at the autumn equinox in September.